The thing about BHAGs is to note that you may not accomplish them, and that's okay, right? It's kind of that saying where, shoot for the I think it's shoot for the moon, even if you fail, you'll land them on the stars, right? It's kind of that idea with BHAGs, right? Shoot for something that's really, really far fetched and out there, right? Because, like I said, it's going to force you to become more creative and gather more resources when you're trying to go after it, right? And along the way, you're going to be accomplishing so many other goals and so many other things kind of in the process that when you kind of stop and take a look back, you're going to realize, that you really and truly are among the stars. You really accomplished. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TWR CEO Podcast. I'm your host, Shanice, and today you are tuned in to yet another KISS segment, aka Keep It Simple, Shanice. If you have not been paying attention, the KISS segment is all about keeping it very short, sweet, simple, and straight to the point, where I take some time to delve into some hot topics from previous episodes or even some really well engaged or well talked about content on our social media. If you aren't following me on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or anything, as always, all of our socials are down in the show notes below, but I'll also link them here. The handle is the same across all platforms, so you have absolutely no excuse for not being subscribed or following us or anything of that nature, okay? Make sure that you take some time and go do that so you don't miss out on any context that I'm providing here on our KISS segments. So, just as a quick disclaimer as well, I will link any kind of media that I'm referring to in these segments down in the show notes below as well, so that you can automatically go see them and reference them if you happen to have forgotten. So, on today's segment, I am talking about BHAGs. I know it sounds really weird, right? It's an industry term in consulting. So if you're not a consultant or not kind of adjacent to that world, you may have no idea what I'm talking about. So if you kind of looked on my Instagram lately and some of the captions or even Facebook that I've kind of posted as well lately, I talked about and I refer to BHAGs a lot. And BHAG simply stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. And I referenced it a lot in terms of planning out your new year, in terms of your New Year's resolutions. So let's delve deeper into what kind of BHAGs are and why they're kind of important and why I'm kind of talking about them now, right? So I already kind of said that they're your big, hairy, audacious goals, but to break it down into more layman's terms, they're really those kind of stretch goals, right? Those goals that take a little more elbow grease to see them through, right? So in the consulting world, just to give some background here, what happens is, you have a client that comes to you with a problem that they need help solving, right? But in that process of storyboarding and kind of whiteboarding to understand the real root of the problem, because we all know that if you jump right to solution, you could be solving symptoms and not really getting to the root of the issue at all. So we kind of start from the base there, and we delve deeper into, okay, well, what is it that you want to see solved and why? What will having this new system, this new process, this new kind of arrangement in place, what will it do for you as a company, as a person, just from interaction between your colleagues as well, what will it do for you? And so we try to get our clients and kind of our companies to throw out their biggest and wildest ideas, put it all out there on paper. Because what happens is when you're in that solutioning phase, you start to realize that some of your wildest and craziest goals and kind of ideas, those actually become more practical as you go along. Honestly, you'll learn that with any problem, it's the more kind of options you have available to you, the more robust your solutioning tactic is going to be, your line of approach is going to be, right? Because it opens you up to so much more creativity. You're not pigeonholing yourself in a sense and confining yourself to just one method of thinking, one way of thinking, One of the things that we try to stay away from is group thinking, right? So by having everyone throw out their biggest and wildest ideas, what we're doing is welcoming in creativity without really kind of saying it a lot, because a lot of times creativity is deemed as child's play, right? But you have no idea how much like creativity really and truly is needed in the workplace and almost every problem that you're trying to solve, right? If you get back to kind of that child's play mentality, you can really solve a lot of your problems a lot quicker than you think you can. So now we kind of have the context and the background behind BHAGs, and you guys don't think that I'm cursing you out in the comments or anything like that. You understand the real meaning behind it. Let's jump into why I have started to share more about them now, right? So I think that BHAGs are definitely crucial or definitely useful at any point in your life at any point of the year, but I bought them out in terms of my I think my reel that I posted, and I'll link it down below as well if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. But the 4 things that you need to have on your New Year's resolution list if you're ready to make 2022 your year. That's when I first kind of talked about it there, but of course I wanted to put it there in terms of when you're kind of setting these goals for yourself, when you're kind of having, that list of your New Year's resolutions, right? Make sure that you're having, I don't want to say SMART goals because everyone says SMART, but to me, I'm like, SMART goals really aren't helpful to me. Maybe because I don't really understand it. But BHAGs is like something that I understand a lot more. And those 4 items that I put in that reel are something that I connect with and I resonate more, right? I said you need to make sure that you have a habit or a routine. This is going to build that muscle memory for you, so that when you start to see that success, you have something to kind of go back and track it and say, you know what? I woke up at 6 a.m. every day for like the past month. And because of that, I was able to do this, this, and this throughout my day, right? Then you can go back specifically and see this is what has helped me get to this point. I think that it's been said many times before, you can't improve what you can't track or you can't measure, right? So by having a habit or routine, it kind of sets those stepping stones for you to be able to track and measure your progress along the way, right? So that's why I say number one, you need it. Number two, I set a practical goal. I think we all kind of, I think pile our list on with practical goals anyhow. Those are those goals like you're gonna reach if you just keep breathing, you keep living, you keep doing what you're doing, right? You're gonna reach those goals no matter what. It's kind of like if you're in college right now and you're studying, you're still taking your classes and everything like that. If you stay the course, you are gonna graduate come May, right? Now, granted, you may have to put in a little work to, make sure your grades stay at a decent, grade point average. But other than that, it doesn't take very much second thought, if that makes sense, right? Like that's a practical goal. You can also say it's more of a tangible goal, I guess you could say. So the reason why I say you have to have this second piece on your list is because it's really going to build your confidence. It's really going to give you that oomph when you're kind of feeling down and out from number 3. Okay, so this is going to give you that reassurance, like, you know what, hey, I can do this. I am doing something right. And just help you like pick up when you're feeling kind of sad and drained from number 3, which is that stretch goal, aka your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. This is that crux. This is that piece that's like, you know what? I'm throwing every ounce of energy, every ounce of, willpower and knowledge that I have to accomplish this big goal right here. Maybe if you're a business owner, it's making 6 figures in your business, right? That's going to take a lot of work. There's a lot of moving parts. You have to make sure your marketing is together. Is your product or service, together? Do you know, is your offer streamlined? Do you know exactly how you're reaching customers or clients? Is your funnel together? Like all those moving parts are going into making sure that you reach that goal of having a 6-figure year, right? While you can claim that it's more practical if you're already kind of a high earning business owner already, I'm more so saying if you're like just starting out in business, right? Or maybe you're like, you've been in business for a couple months and you're like, you know what? Now it's time for me to kick it up a notch and go for that 6-figure year. The thing about BHAGs is to note that you may not accomplish them, and that's okay, right? It's kind of that saying where, shoot for the I think it's shoot for the moon, even if you fail, you'll land among the stars, right? It's kind of that idea with BHAGs, right? Shoot for something that's really, really far fetched out there, right? Because, like I said, it's going to force you to become more creative and gather more resources when you're trying to go after it, right? And along the way, you're going to be accomplishing so many other goals and so many other things kind of in the process that when you kind of stop and take a look back, you're going to realize, that you really and truly are among the stars. You really accomplished so much. So it's still going to give you that confidence, that oomph once you kind of get started on it, right? Um, I say have a BHAG, outside of all those other things I just mentioned as well, because it's going to give you something to continue to strive for, to continue to get up, like your why, basically, right? It's going to give you that extra, I guess, caffeine boost, that extra uh, adrenaline boost, I guess, to kind of get you up in the mornings and say, you know what, I still have something to accomplish this year. I am not done just because I reached my practical goal or goals, right? And so the last part that I said in that reel was to make sure that you have a motto or a theme for the year. And this is kind of like, I say your tagline. For me, I always go for like 3 keywords to like keep me on track. And like during the year, I don't really share it with anyone because I'm like, I need to make sure that's personal. Like, I don't want anyone else to kind of, put doubt into what I'm kind of proclaiming over my year. So for last year, I'll share that one. My 3 words, I said it was triple D's, and it was discipline, dedication, determination. So for me, I knew that I really had to get back on track of, staying consistent with my goals and stuff like that. Because I'm a huge procrastinator. I am a very huge procrastinator. I like to chop up and say, oh, I just work well under pressure or work well under stress. That's not true. That's not how anybody works. That's not healthy, okay? Acknowledge that weakness that you have and go get you some consistency, okay? Um, so I think that really kind of wraps up this KISS segment or this KISS session. You guys now know what BHAGs are, why you need them, and kind of how to create them as well. So you have really all the tools you need to go be successful with your BHAG this year. I want to hear some of your BHAGs if you don't mind. I would love to hear them. I'll share one of mine right now. One of mine is definitely to earn 6 figures in my business right now as well. So some of you don't know, I'll drop it here. I am starting a blog this year that kind of goes in conjunction with the podcast. So stay on the lookout for that. But that is one of my main goals this year. And it's definitely a BHAG for sure. But I'm not going to let that stop me. And I know that even if I miss the moon, I'm going to land among some amazing, phenomenal stars. Okay. So that's all for today. I'll see you all in the next session.